Hello, my wonderful students. Today we're going to be solving inequalities with distribution in them, or with parentheses. Okay, so we're going to do A first, and then we'll work on B after. So it's similar to what we were doing before, and there's two things you can do. The first thing you could do, if you wanted to, you could actually distribute this here, and then solve it like you normally would solve a two-step equation, a two-step inequality. But we're actually going to do the two-step inequality by dividing everything that's in front of the x plus 4 first. So we're going to divide everything by 4. If you see here, then you can see that this 4 and 4 divide out, because 4 divided by 4 equals 1, leaving this side was just x plus 4. And since we did divide by a positive number, not a negative number, it's still less than or equal to. And then 44 divided by 4 would be 11. Like I said, this is probably the easier step to do because if we divide, we don't have to worry about distributing the 4 to the x and then the 4 to the 4 to solve this equation. So the last step, all we have to do is subtract by 4 because it's the opposite of add 4 to both sides. So it's the same, and then we have 4 minus 4 would be 0, so we have x on this side. Let me change the color. X would be less than or equal to 4. If you have $11 and you owe someone 4, after you pay them, you have $7. Okay, so for B, we have a very similar situation. We have our -3, and we're multiplying to the n plus 2. Once again, we could do distribution here and distribute the -3 to both, but it would just be easier to just divide both sides by the -3 to get rid of everything that's in front. Once again, if we do that, I'm going to go in blue now. These would simplify because -3 divided by -3 is equal to 1. So on this side, we're left with n plus 2. And on this side, we're left with -8. Because we did divide by a -3 to both sides, our sign is actually going to switch over to the other side. So instead of having less or -8 greater than n plus 2, we're going to have -8 is less than n plus 2. And all we have left is our pesky plus 2 that's bothering our old man, which we like to call our variable. And in order to get rid of the -2, or the positive 2, we're going to do the opposite, which is subtract 2 to both sides. The inequality is going to stay the same, so this is still going to be less than here. If I owe somebody $8 and then I owe them $2 more, I'm actually going to owe them $10 in total. We have our n, and our 2 minus 2 adds to 0, but we don't have to actually write that. We can just leave it as n. Okay. Our old man doesn't like to be behind, so we're actually going to move him to the front. In order to do that, we have to keep the sign facing the same direction. So for example, we would have n is greater than -10. And the reason is because what I learned when I was younger, if I write it this way, back again how we had it up here, if we have -10, and we have the open symbol there, which is a less than n. I used to always pretend, or as they showed me, that this was a Pac-Man. It's a very bad Pac-Man. Try my best to do a little bit better. And the Pac-Man always wanted to eat the bigger side. In this case, the bigger side is n. So if we move the n to this side, Pac-Man still wants to eat the n on this side, which would be the -10, which gives us our n greater than -10.